This is episode 15 of the Battle of Ohio podcast. The Browns are looking to solidify their playoff push as they prepare to face the Jacksonville sports franchise that I'm told occasionally plays professional football. Um,
Occasionally.
occasionally. I haven't seen a whole lot of it. They even lost to the Bengals, so that's not good.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's exciting for us.
Speaking of the Bengals, we don't have much to play, much left to play for this year. Um, but we do have a new quarterback, so that might be interesting. Even though they're playing a New Jersey Giants team that is looking like a legit contender to win their division at 3-7.
Oh my god. Man, it's kind of
Uh,
frustrating because this should be the time that the Bengals are going on a run,
yeah,
and
but
it's
yeah,
not. It's not.
we
It's,
ain't doing that with Brandon Allen. I mean, better him than Ryan Finley, but um,
oh, so you're not starting Ryan Finley? That's fun.
now we're starting Brandon Allen. But the
That's
Giants,
exciting.
the Giants are yet another bad team that the undefeated Steelers had to sweat one out against this year. Because why, Thomas?
Is it because the Steelers are trash?
It's because the Steelers still suck.
The Steelers do still suck. The Steelers will always suck.
I don't understand. The Steelers players are going off on Twitter lately because people are criticizing them for having the weakest undefeated record of all time, and they're like, "Yeah, we're you bet you wouldn't want to face up against us in a football game." I'm like, "Yes, Bud Dupree, I would not want to go against you in a football game. I'm sure you would kick my ass, but I'm not the competition you're going up against. I'm slightly worse."
I think the Steelers. I think the Steelers are. I still think the Steelers are probably one of the better teams in the NFL, if not the best team in the NFL.
Well,
I'm not gonna.
fair.
I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna.
The
I'm not
Steelers are
gonna.
certainly. I'm not saying the Steelers aren't like worthy of being a playoff team, and they aren't like worthy of having a good record, or like they're the obvious AFC North champions at this point. Um, I'm just saying I don't think the Steelers are as good as their record indicates because their record indicates they're the best team in the NFL, and I think that's complete horseshit.
Yeah, I think it's the Chiefs
Yeah,
for
we'll see
sure.
what happens when we get to the playoffs and the Steelers lose in round one. I was dealing with some dog issues right now, but
It's gonna be everybody say. Everybody say hi to Nyla. Everybody say hi to Nyla. Hi, Nyla.
hey,
Oh,
Nyla.
she's gonna lick my phone. Look at her. Isn't she adorable? So that's gonna be fun to deal with this entire podcast.
Well, hopefully we'll be able to get
But
through it.
but bear with me. I can if the Steelers, this dog doing this podcast and dealing with this dog is more competition than the Steelers have to deal with all season.
Oh my,
Zinger. No,
it's it's true. It's true. Um,
Welcome to the Battle of Ohio podcast, where we follow the revival of the historic rivalry between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns.
so, but anyway, why don't you tell me what you're drinking today, Thomas?
Today I am drinking New Amsterdam. Yes, that's white, ladies and gentlemen. So say you cannot afford the high-end vodka, but you still want some good vodka that doesn't taste bad, then go ahead and get some New Amsterdam. It's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. And then you just mix it with some lemonade, and you got yourself a good old-fashioned sorority girl drink. So go ahead and enjoy your sorority girl drink.
Yeah, I am once again drinking a Doom Pedal because it's peak at FedEx, and I have not had any time to go get new beer. So for the third episode, I am drinking a Doom Pedal. 50 West, great beer.
Wasn't bringing
But
you
I
lots
will
of
tell
luck.
you that
it
sometimes I kind of wish I was drinking a vodka like Thomas because I'm a Bengals fan.
looks like dog is going to join us.
Okay. What's her name again?
uh, Nyla.
Nyla. Well, Nyla, why don't you tell me how you feel about Brandon Allen's chances of beating the New York Giants, huh?
Nyla, how you feel about Brandon Allen's chances of being New York Giant?
That didn't look good.
Like, I swear she be talking, man. I swear she be talking. Like, I get real like intoxicated, and I'll be looking at her, and she be like talking to me.
I bet. I've seen it myself. Let's go ahead and start off with the Browns, who are playing against the one-win Jacksonville Jaguars. And not only is this a bad one-win team that you guys are coming up against, but you're also dealing with a team that is dealing with a bunch of coaches. I forget what the exact number was, but a bunch of their coaches are going to be out with COVID this week. So, right? Like, I mean, it's like a decent number of coaches who won't be able to make the game because of COVID. And you know who they're starting at quarterback this week?
Is it not Gardner? Is it not
Gardner Minshew, who
Okay.
I think he got benched. I can't remember. It might have been benched. I don't think it was injury. And it's not Jake Luton or Luton, however you pronounce it, who has been their quarterback. It is the indelible Mike Glennon.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah,
I did see that actually. And that's exciting, right?
For Browns
more
fans,
exciting?
yeah, sure.
What's more exciting than seeing Mike Glennon play? You know, dude, if it wasn't the fact that my situation right now, I would totally fly down there and see this game because I really want to see this game. Man, like but the Browns they have a lot of players out too. You still have Myles Garrett. He's still gonna be out because of COVID. Hopefully he's back next week against the Titans. We're gonna need him against the Titans. And Rodney Harrison, he's also is out. I'm sorry, he's questionable. And our cornerback Denzel Ward, he is out with a calf strain, so he's going to be out for 3 weeks. Hopefully, it's not longer than that. So there's a few injuries on the Browns front, and their defensive end is hurt. Their backup defensive end, a rookie. I can't think of his name off the top of my head right now, but they have this backup defensive end, and he's really good. He's a rookie. They just drafted him, and he's going to also be out this weekend. So the Browns have injuries, and they have people who are on the COVID list, and the COVID list has been growing in our facility, not as much as the Baltimore Ravens COVID list has been growing. My God, but we definitely do have a COVID list going on right now. So that's going to be a problem. But at the same time, our entire offensive front is there. We are going to be straight up. We're going to be solid offensively. All of our starters are going to be there. So there should be no excuse that we lose this game. At the very least, we should be able to outslug Jacksonville. And even with all these guys injured and on the COVID list, we should be able to win this game pretty handily.
Well, I will say one thing about you guys winning this game. If you win this game, the Browns will be in full control of the number 5 seed.
Yeah.
So they'll pretty much be all but guaranteed a playoff spot if they win this game, because the teams that are in competition for the Browns for a playoff spot right now are the Tennessee Titans, the Indianapolis Colts, who are both 7-3, but they play each other this week. So whoever wins that game is going to be in control of the AFC South, and whoever loses that game is going to be 7-4.
Yeah.
If the Browns are 8-3, then they'll have they're guaranteed to have a lead over whoever's the next wild card team. The Las Vegas Raiders are currently in control of the number 7 seed. They're currently 6-4. So even if they win this week, that's only 7-4. So if the Browns win, then they're a game ahead of the Raiders. And also the Dolphins and Ravens are they're the only teams left in the playoff hunt in the AFC that have winning records. But they're both 6-4. So literally, if the Browns win, then they have a guaranteed game cushion on the number 5 playoff seed, and that would pretty much, I think, solidify their spot as a playoff team at that point. The one thing that kind of bothers me, though, is the Browns have really, really, really critical games coming up. against the Baltimore Ravens and the Tennessee Titans. Not in that order.
In the opposite order, actually.
You're right. So, could this be a trap game? That is my main question, because you've got a scrappy Jaguars team who has not been good. They've not been good. They're bottom 5 in the NFL in every meaning, or they're bottom 10 in virtually every meaningful offensive category this year, and they're bottom 5 in virtually every meaningful defensive category this year. They're actually worse than the league in sacks. They have 9, which I mentioned on Facebook. It was either Facebook or Twitter. I mentioned on either Facebook or Twitter that the Jaguars have less sacks as a team this year than Yannick Ngakoue, who they
Yeah, I
just
did see
traded
that.
away. Yannick
Yeah, I seen
Ngakoue
that.
being the best sacking player in the NFL this year with 11, and the Jaguars only have 9.
Should be out
So
here.
this is not a good Jaguars team, and yet they've still been scrappy. There have been games that they've been in. You know, they didn't get completely steamrolled by the Steelers right away. It took a minute. You know, I believe week 1 they came out and put a hurting on the Colts. That was the only game they've won all year, but they've been in a lot more of their games. So, you know, I feel like this is a team that the Browns, with 2 really, really, really critical games coming up after this, could potentially easily sleep on, especially with, you know, all the injuries and COVID issues that the Browns have.
I'm gonna go with I do not think that the Browns are going to take it this way. Only because usually when we talk about trap games with teams, it's usually for like um it's usually like teams like Alabama or like Ohio State, for example, on
Mhm.
college football references, or like the New England Patriots with Tom Brady, or the 10-0 Steelers, right? Where they're getting the respect of the league. And when they go against these bad opponents, all that respect that they're getting might go to their head, and they might forget that they're not better than everybody who lose any given Sunday.
Well,
For
that's
the
one way.
Browns, on the other hand, the Browns are still proving themselves. I think the Browns players and coaches still think that they're proving themselves. If it wasn't the fact that they're still proving themselves, then I would agree with you. Yeah, it's a trap game. But the problem is that people are talking about the Browns like they're a fraud 7-3. We talk about the Steelers being a fraud 10-0. People talk about the Browns being a fraud 7-3. So
I haven't heard that much.
you still have the Baker Mayfield pressure. Baker hasn't thrown a touchdown in 3 weeks, even though every single game that he played in the last 3 weeks was a hurricane. He still hasn't thrown a touchdown in 3 weeks. So that's people are talking about that. People are talking about if he's a franchise quarterback. So Baker still have a lot to prove. Kevin Stefanski, he hasn't proven anything yet. Yes, he's proven that he's competent. He's a competent head coach in the room, but he's still trying to do his best job of proving to the team that he is the adult in the room. And the season isn't over yet. There's still 6 games left. So he knows that he has to stay sharp and focused. And you still have players like Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt who are trying to break running back records. These guys aren't going to take this Jacksonville team lightly at all. And I know they won't, because they feel like they have a lot to prove. You know, the best thing about this era that we live in is that we have access to Twitter. And for some reason, athletes aren't afraid to tell you how they feel on Twitter, even though they probably shouldn't. They tell you. And the Browns, if you look at a lot of Browns players' Twitters, a lot of their tweets that they have tweeted the last couple of weeks, it's all about still trying to prove themselves, because the Browns are probably the most controversial team in the NFL right now. Everybody's trying to pick on them, and your own fan base is talking about if the quarterback is a quarterback of the future or not, even though he's the best quarterback we had in 20 years. So the idea of it being a trap game, I know Jacksonville is a lot better than people give credit for, but you know we heard the same thing with the Texans. And I think the Texans are an even better team than Jacksonville. And going to that Texans game, I remember everybody saying, well, watch out for Deshaun Watson. And Deshaun Watson is a phenomenal player, and I was afraid of Deshaun Watson myself, and as we've seen what he did to the Lions. But at the end of the day, I think that this group is very focused. They're out to prove everything they have to prove, and they understand that they're playing for the Cleveland Browns, and the Cleveland Browns haven't done anything in 25 years, and they're trying to show everybody that they are back, and the Browns are back. And that's what I love about this team, because this team is just every single time they get punched or somebody get hurt or somebody goes down, they get right back up and they come back swinging. And it's very exciting to watch as a young Browns fan, somebody who never seen this from his sports team, from his football team. And it's very exciting to see them with this mentality. And I think the Browns feel that they have a chance to be a special team and the first special Browns team in a very long time. And I think they're going to do whatever they can to prove everybody that there should be in a conversation of one of the best teams in the league. So I think the Browns are going to win this game pretty handily for that reason.
Well, okay, so I want to make it clear that I certainly am not saying that I expect the Browns to not take the Jaguars seriously and then lose because of that. I'm not saying that I believe that the Browns will lose. I do, however, I think this is a game that, like you said, they really should take more seriously than I think a lot of people are potentially giving it credit for.
I agree.
I think the Jaguars, while not being a good team, are a team that can bite you if you're not careful.
And Glennon, he's a veteran quarterback, and people like veteran.
He's a veteran quarterback who's had not a lot of success, but he had a little bit of success in Tampa Bay. He got benched for Trubisky in Chicago. But the point being that he's been like. He was one of those guys who had some success as a young fill-in quarterback. And then everybody kind of went nuts about in free agency because they're like, "Oh, is Mike Glennon the next great free agent quarterback?" And then we quickly found out that was not the case. But but people were saying that. People were like, "Oh, we got to go get Mike Glennon like he's freaking Kirk Cousins or something." And Kirk Cousins ain't even really all that great, but Kirk Cousins was the guy that I think all these go get the fifth round guy who filled in for a great quarterback temporarily. I don't know if RG3 is a great quarterback, but the point being is every year you got these guys who have some sort of do something interesting coming in as a backup, and then everybody goes crazy about them in free agency. And Mike Glennon definitely got swept up in that initially. And part of what I'm saying in that is that while at the time I did not believe that Mike Glennon was going to be a great quarterback, there is still a skill set to him that made him get to the point where people were talking about him in the first place. So I don't know. I don't understand why they were starting Jake Luton in the first place. I didn't even know Mike Glennon was on the roster. Why weren't you starting Mike Glennon? I think he's obviously, if you don't trust Minshew, I think you want a veteran quarterback who's been around the block. But I don't know. What do I know?
The thing is about these veteran quarterbacks is that anytime I always get a little nervous when I face a veteran when you face a veteran quarterback. So veteran quarterbacks, you see Ryan Fitzpatrick, right? Ryan Fitzpatrick is the epitome of a veteran quarterback. It's they could win you games that you wouldn't expect them to win because they just know the game because they've been around the game longer than anybody else. You have these quarterbacks who've been in the league for 10, 15 years. They know every single defense out there. You're not going to trick or surprise them. The key is you just gotta. They're gonna try to outsmart you. You just gotta beat them. Just simply put, you gotta beat them. And I understand what you're getting at when you say that this is a team that can win. And by the way, Jacksonville got that running back, that rookie running back. I'm a big fan of his name. Yeah. I like him a lot. Very explosive. He I think the best thing about him is that he has 172 attempts for 762 yards, 5 touchdowns. That's very impressive. He's averaging 4.4 yards per rush. He has a very impressive stat line for a 22-year-old running back, and he's probably going to be the future there at Jacksonville. So that guy could easily just run over a defense that's decimated by coronavirus. So I need Olivia Vernon to step up this week. I need Olivia Vernon to have a similar game that he had last week, and hopefully we can hopefully some of these young guys can step up in place with Myles Garrett and then the Ward, and we able to get some stops, some timely stops, and mainly though mainly though, I think the biggest key to this game Sunday is actually Baker Mayfield. There's no excuse for this game actually, and I'm one of the biggest Baker Mayfield defenders out there. There's no excuse for this game. Baker has to perform this game. You're playing in 70-degree weather. It's sunny. You're playing against Jacksonville.
Right.
There's not gonna be no wind. There's not gonna be no rain. It's not gonna be no snow.
It's time to show something.
It's time for us to show you something. Like you did that game against the Bengals. We threw 5 touchdowns and completed 21 and 22 passes. Like you did that in the rain. Like it was raining that day. And so I think that this game is a Baker Mayfield game. And by the way, before Baker Mayfield, one thing that Baker Mayfield reminds me of, and I was thinking about this, Baker Mayfield is like Baker Mayfield's like a shooter in basketball. He's like a streaky shooter in basketball. He gets hot and then he gets cold. Like what he does, if you ever watch Baker Mayfield, like he goes on these runs where he makes like 10, 15 passes in a row. When he gets in rhythm, he makes every single pass. But when he gets out of rhythm, he would miss like 4 or 5 passes in a row. It's like a streaky shooter. I don't know. Like it's very interesting how that works. So let's hope he gets hot against Jacksonville. They're bad teams, but Baker Mayfield always plays better against bad teams. I guess that's what the Baker Mayfield haters say. I mean, whatever. So I need Baker Mayfield to have a big game this week, though. I need him to throw at least 2 or 3 touchdowns this week, at least.
That's fair. I think he certainly could, but to vault off of a point that you made, speaking of quarterbacks who get their start as kind of fill-ins and then go on to have successful, journeyman careers, you mentioned Ryan Fitzpatrick. Well, you know where Ryan Fitzpatrick got his start, right?
Cincinnati.
As a member of the St. Louis Rams.
Ooh.
But where he actually got his start was the Cincinnati. That's where he got drafted and whatever. But where he really kind of put himself on the map as a great fill-in quarterback was in Cincinnati. I believe in 2008 when Carson Palmer, I believe, hurt his elbow and he was basically out the whole year. And
Fitz Magic, baby.
What?
Fitz Magic, baby.
Fitzmagic. Well, that's where we started calling him Fitzmagic. He came in and we didn't do so well in 2008, but he came in and he played pretty well and he held down the position. He went on to have a very successful journeyman career after that. So I'm not saying that this is where Brandon Allen starts his great career as a journeyman starting quarterback in the NFL. But I am saying it is a weirdly similar situation to what happened to Carson Palmer with Joe Burrow. Obviously, it's a completely different body part, and it's a completely different amount of damage. I was talking about Carson Palmer's elbow injury in 2008. But, Brandon Allen is okay, so first of all, Ryan Finley is really, 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 really bad. He is not. I don't know what on earth we've been doing with Ryan Finley because he's so bad that even the Bengals coaching staff, who's been trying to stay behind him, even they know that after watching that terrible performance in relief of Burrow against the Washington football team, even they know that Ryan Finley is not the answer. So why is he still the backup quarterback? It's just we've been trying to force this guy. And then you pay the price for when he's actually got to go in and play a game. Well, Brandon Allen isn't exactly a world beater or anything like that. But he does have experience as a starter last year with the Broncos. And 2 of those games were not so great. But his first game wasn't so bad. While he definitely didn't elevate his team, you could tell that he wasn't, super comfortable with a lot of things. His accuracy was just really not good. But he was mobile and he could make the throws when it wasn't a very tough throw. He could make the throws and his field vision wasn't great, but his arm strength is pretty good. So he's got arm strength and he's got mobility and he's not great at decision making. He's not great at vision. He's not great at accuracy. So we're definitely going to be missing Joe Burrow with Brandon Allen starting at quarterback. But this guy, I think, actually has the potential to put together some plays, unlike Ryan Finley, which against a team like the against the New York Giants, I can't say that the Bengals might potentially win, but I will say that it's going to be a lot more interesting with Brandon Allen in the game than it would have been with Ryan Finley.
I mean, y'all can beat the Giants. Y'all can beat the Giants.
We can. I don't think we will, though.
We really don't know what Brandon Allen is. Nobody have any idea what Brandon Allen is. You say he got a big arm?
Well, he looked like he had a big arm in 3 starts for the Broncos last year before Drew Lock took over.
He played like 3 games his entire career.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He could be more than I'm giving him credit for. It's just what I saw on the film was a guy with a big arm and bad decision making.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe sitting on the sideline for a year, maybe that might give him opportunity to.
Maybe.
You are playing the NFC East team. Yeah. Here's the thing though, right? Y'all still have Joe Mixon, right? Y'all still have T. Higgins, right? Y'all still have Tyler Boyd. Maybe, just maybe, you talk about a team not taking another team seriously. Maybe the Giants are sitting here going like, "Oh, we got a Bengals, and we could take advantage of this 2-win Bengals team without Joe Burrow." Keep in mind, the Giants only got 1 more win than you guys do.
No, the Giants have 0 more wins than us. The Giants are 2-7, I believe.
Oh, are they? I thought they were 3-7.
I think no, because they had a bye week. Oh no, wait. No, you're right. Wait. No, you're right. They're 3-7. Okay. I don't know why.
Yeah. All right, so the Giants only have 1 more win than you guys do. They only have 1 more win than you guys do. So there's been plenty of times where these backup quarterbacks started a game after they've been sitting all year, and they come in juiced up. You're gonna get Brandon Allen's best effort Sunday. You'll get his best effort Sunday. Watch.
Well, I agree with that.
If you have a big arm, dude, you have 2 receivers in Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins that could run some good routes and that could, break 1 or 2, for the end zone. So, let's see what happens.
I definitely think that we have a better shot with Brandon Allen than we would have with Ryan Finley. I don't think there's any question about that. The problem isn't the quarterback play, because we've had great quarterback play all year, and we've got 2 wins, 2.5 wins. Sure. So I don't know. To me, it doesn't, like, Brandon Allen might have a really good game, a better game than expected, but it's just like, Brandon Allen is not the type that, from what I've seen, he's not the type to elevate the guys around him to playing at a better level. And that's really what the Bengals need right now, is they need somebody to elevate them to playing at a better level to win any games. And I know the NFC East is really bad, and I know the New York Giants are maybe one of the better NFC East teams based on the way they've played some weeks. But at the end of the day, the Bengals are also really bad. The Bengals wouldn't even be winning. The Bengals would be not so bad off in the playoff race if they were in the NFC East, and that's saying something right there. But they would still be in last place. So yeah, it's not like the Bengals are really any sort of like world beaters that the Giants need to worry about either.
Yeah, it's true. It's true, but it's true. Keep in mind, the Giants get to play against other NFC East teams too.
That's true. Personally, I think the absolute ceiling for the Bengals behind Brandon Allen is 5-9-1. To be honest with you, and that's just because we play 2 more NFC East teams. Wait, is that right now? We play them and the Cowboys. That's just because we play 2 more NFC East teams and we play the Texans. I think we could maybe be 5-9-1 at the end of this, partially because of our schedule. But against teams like the Dolphins and the Steelers and the Ravens, I don't see how Brandon Allen, from what I saw on the tape, I don't see how Brandon Allen does anything different than what. Well, definitely isn't as good as Joe Burrow, but certainly doesn't do anything different than what Joe Burrow would do to bring
Yeah.
us a win.
You got to, you guys got to hope that Brandon Allen can do something though, because like, or y'all going to get a quarterback in the offseason because I'm personally concerned. Like I was listening to the radio today, and I was listening to the King Carmen show on CBS Sports Radio today, and he had a guest on. He talked about Joe Burrow's injury, and I don't necessarily agree with this, but he said that Joe Burrow is going to take Joe Burrow, he won't be 100% by the start of next season, and for him to get back to that base, it's going to take almost halfway through next season for him to get back to
Well,
where he was this season. And I don't
look, Joe
necessarily think that's
Burrow
true.
hasn't even had his surgery yet, so we
Exactly.
don't know. The
We don't know a
general
timetable.
timetable they say is about 9 to 12 months, but if it's 9 months, 12, yeah, yes, if it's 12 months, then he might not be ready till halfway through the season.
Yeah.
But if it's if he does a good job of rehabbing, and as we expect Joe Burrow to do, because he's got that mentality of a warrior,
Yeah.
and I don't know, I don't want to sit here and place bets on somebody's health because that doesn't seem like something I necessarily want to turn into a game. But
Yeah.
if I had to put a bet on what I would expect Joe Burrow to do from a mentality standpoint and his rehab, it really depends on the injury and depends on how his body reacts to the rehab and stuff. But from a mentality standpoint, I would not be shocked to see him back for week 1, maybe even the first preseason game.
I hope so. I love
Now,
that kid.
100%, I don't know, but I think 70% of Joe Burrow is better than 100% of Ryan Finley or Brandon Allen.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I agree completely. Let's. I think Brandon Allen. I think Brandon Allen's gonna do fine. I think he's gonna do fine. I'm honestly not worried about the offense going to the game because I think you guys have way too many weapons. If we are not to be able to put points on the board, I think if you have at least a competent NFL quarterback, you should at least be able to put some points on the board. There's not a lot of tape out on Brandon Allen. So hopefully he learned a few things over the last year playing behind Joe Burrow and getting coached by Zach Taylor that he's able to pick up some things. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying that there's been plenty of instance, like you said, where quarterbacks found lightning in the bottle. Even for the Browns, you had Derek Anderson, you had Brian Hoyer, quarterbacks who found lightning in the bottle. They were just undrafted free agents. They found lightning in the bottle, and they were just able to just make things happen. So maybe he'll be able to make things happen. Maybe he just started for a bad team and he has a chance to play against a couple of bad teams and he's able to string some things together. I don't know. I'm just saying, give him a chance. I don't know.
Maybe. But
Maybe.
I got to be honest with you, I'm not confident in it. I benched T. Higgins in fantasy this week because I don't. He by far and away part of the reason that I might be on pace to win my fantasy league this year is because I picked up T. Higgins as a free agent in fantasy, and that was one of the best fantasy moves I've ever made in my life. But until I need to see because he was awful. I mean, T. Higgins wasn't awful because he had an awful quarterback throwing him the ball. He couldn't get anything done. But from a fantasy perspective, T. Higgins was awful when Joe Burrow went out of the game. And like I said, I think Brandon Allen's a better quarterback than Ryan Finley, and they're going to have more success behind Brandon Allen. But how much more success, I don't know. Until I see them actually performing really well, I can't say that I expect that's going to happen.
By the way, Brandon Allen's his first start was against my Cleveland Browns, and I do remember that game. And it was last year, and they beat us. But one thing I remember about Brandon Allen is that he is surprisingly mobile.
Yeah.
And yeah, I do remember that. I remember him just like us going like, oh yeah, nowhere to throw. Okay, here we go. And then he's very creative. I think think y'all might have fun watching him this Sunday. I'm just gonna throw that out there. And I remember this game vividly. Okay,
Well, I'll be completely honest with you. I actually got called into work on Sunday, so I will not have fun watching Brandon Allen on Sunday. I might have fun watching him on the replay on Monday, but not on Sunday.
I think. Look, man. All I'm saying, Bengals fans, is don't sleep on Brandon Allen. Y'all going against the Giants. Wouldn't it be a great shot in the arm if this third string quarterback's able to produce some magic for y'all?
Well, I do think, I did want to move on, but I'll go ahead and say this, because if Zach Taylor wants to restore any confidence in his tenure, in his system, in his tenure as head coach, then finding a way to win with the backup quarterbacks is going to be essential, because you weren't winning much with Joe Burrow at quarterback. But if you can find a way for this team to win behind Brandon Allen, then you're going to be the fans are going to be so excited to see what you can do when Joe Burrow comes back.
Yeah.
So that is going to be a huge. If you can start winning, even with a backup quarterback, then that's going to go a long way towards restoring the fans' faith in Zach Taylor and Zach Taylor's system. Real quick, I want to talk about this Ravens-Steelers game that we were supposed to talk about during Thanksgiving, but Ravens got COVID and still dealing with COVID because Lamar Jackson is out.
Lamar Jackson must not have been watching our podcast, because he would have heard me say, take COVID seriously. Well, yeah. Lamar Jackson, see what happens when you don't watch the Battle of Ohio podcast?
Yes, exactly. Watching the Battle of Ohio podcast is good for your health, people.
Okay, I'm not going to say if you not watch us, you're going to get COVID. That's a horrible, destructive thing to say, especially a video that's going to be on the internet for the next generation. I do not want somebody to watch this video 10 years down the line and go like, hey, time to start.
No, but perhaps watching our podcast will lead to enough relaxation and entertainment that somebody can put together the necessary thought processes and will have the mental energy to formulate a working vaccine for COVID.
Exactly.
So
Thanks
that
for
is
being
possible.
Politically correct. That's the political correctness. All I'm saying is take Corona seriously, guys. Take COVID seriously.
Yeah, because now the Baltimore Ravens season very much might be in jeopardy, because they are on the outside looking into the playoffs. They have a critical game against the Steelers this week, and now no Lamar Jackson just because of COVID.
But you don't believe in RG3?
I do actually.
Oh shit!
I do actually. I wanted to make that point about Lamar Jackson missing this game. However, RG3 is not that different of a quarterback from Lamar Jackson. And if you recall, RG3 is actually, when he's in a system that works for him and when he's, feeling comfortable and he's feeling practiced and everything like that, RG3 is a good quarterback. This is not some scrub that they're bringing in out of nowhere. This is Lamar Jackson light and a more experienced Lamar Jackson coming in to back up. And correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't the Ravens backups beat the Steelers last year?
Yeah, but they were playing against the Steelers backup. So it wasn't like I don't know.
Regardless, this is a mostly healthy Baltimore Ravens team. With there's some injuries issues, there's some COVID issues, but it's a lot of the starters just putting Robert Griffin III in place of Lamar Jackson. You don't really have to change up the offense. You don't really have to change up pretty much of anything. You've got a really talented, athletic, versatile quarterback under center for the Ravens. And you've got a Steelers team that really just hasn't, in my opinion, shown at any point this year that they are a real threat to be taken seriously. And of course, they could totally beat the Ravens. I think the Steelers are a good enough team to beat the Ravens. I'm just saying the Steelers aren't so good that they're guaranteed to beat the Ravens, even with Lamar Jackson out. I think RG3 is going to do a fine enough job, and I don't know. I don't see this being quite the like the death knell for the Baltimore Ravens that everybody's saying. I think this very easily could be a win for the Ravens that gets them right back into that playoff discussion. Obviously, they still have some more work to do to get a playoff seed back, but they could get them right back into that playoff. It would keep them solidified in the playoff hunt is what it would do.
I think RG3 is a better. I think RG3 is a better passer than Lamar Jackson is.
Yeah.
I think that that he's going to be able to make some veteran throws because technically RG3 is a veteran quarterback. Excuse me. Technically, RG3 is a veteran quarterback in the league right now. He's been in the league for a while. You can put him in that veteran quarterback category. Talk about 1 or 2 games you only see a quarterback last year. You only see RG3 in 1 game last year. And he wasn't horrible. He wasn't horrible at all, actually. You're playing with a Hall of Fame coach, a coach that understands you, a coach that understands the system. And like you said, they beat the Steelers last year 28-10, behind Lamar Jackson. Not behind Lamar Jackson. I'm sorry, behind RG3 as quarterback. And he went 11 for 21 for 96 yards, 1 interception, 0 touchdowns, 50 yards rushing. So I mean, he can make plays. He can make plays, but I just don't think that. I just think the Steelers are just I think the Steelers are literally built to defeat the Ravens style of offense. Like their defenses, they don't match up well against the Ravens. I'm sorry, the Steelers match up great against the Ravens. I just think that the Steelers defense is great in that front. Not JJ Watt, TJ Watt, and those big guys getting those sacks and those sack leaders and their ability to just completely just stop the run. And they just play the Ravens pretty honestly in the past because I just don't see much offense being generated against this Steelers team. And without Lamar Jackson, even with RG3, I'm slurring my speech today. Even with RG3 as one of the better backups in the league, even with them having a longer week to prepare, I just do not see the Ravens having the ability to stop the Steelers or to score against Steelers. So I think the Steelers are going to be more motivated this game because the Steelers are probably frustrated with the Ravens, so they got to wait 5 more days to play a game, and it kind of eats up their week for next week, and then they're going to play next week's game on short rest. So I just don't see the Ravens. I don't know. I just don't see the Ravens winning this one. I just don't. I don't know. What about you?
Well, that's definitely a fair perspective to take. Like I said, if the Ravens do not win this week, they will be 6-5, and will be just that much closer to their playoff hopes being on the chopping block, which is an insane thing to really say when you think about the team that was expected to roll to the Super Bowl this year. Or at least be a contender for the Super Bowl this year. They might not even make the playoffs now if they don't beat the Steelers.
I'm excited.
It is certainly going to be interesting to watch. Far more interesting to watch than the Bengals. Ain't nothing to watch there, people.
I'm telling y'all, man, don't sleep on Brandon Allen, man. Like, don't sleep on Brandon Allen.
I actually think that Brandon Allen should solidify himself as the Bengals' backup quarterback of the future right now, or at least for the next couple of years, and get the Bengals' backup quarterback position finally to the point where it is one of the better backup situations in the NFL which we really haven't had for a couple of years because we've been dealing with, guys like Ryan Finley and Jeff Driscoll.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think that's going to do it for this episode of the Battle of Ohio podcast, guys. Thanks for watching. If you want to follow me and Thomas more on social media or wherever that you want to find us, I'm at Kyle Phelps 92 on Twitter and Facebook.com/LaPhelps. Thomas is T_star94 on Twitter and Instagram, and then he has a YouTube page called Blowdown Page. If you like what you hear, please subscribe, please comment, and tell us what you do like, what you don't like, any ideas that you might have. Let us know if you want to come on the podcast because we love having guests. It helps kind of mix things up a little bit, so it's not just the same stale old Bengals and Browns fan talking about their various delusions of grandeur about their team, or at least me. I don't know, because the Browns are actually good this year. What an odd thing to say. But
Dude,
yep. What?
Go Browns! Don't sleep in Brandon Allen, guys. I'm pretty excited to see him play.
I am excited to look at Brandon Allen. Like I said, I have to work, so I won't be able to watch the game itself. But I'm interested to look at the tape afterwards to see if Brandon Allen can maybe stabilize that backup quarterback position. The Bengals have really needed to stabilize ever since A.J. McCarron left. But, like I said, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll catch you next time.